be live now.
All right.
So, Gute Woche, Shavua Tov from EUGS and Base Berlin. I'm happy that you're all here, and I'm happy that my good friend Avi is also all right.
I'm all right. Thank God. Thank God. Another day, right? We're coming to the end of just 2020.
Yeah, actually, yeah. 2020 is ending. I mean, let's not talk so much about 2020, but
It's good because we're still in 5781, right?
Mhm.
Tough shin pay Aleph, right? That's we've already been in the new year for some time.
Yeah, can only become better, and yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting thinking about time, right? I was reading something this week that, right, Hanukkah was the last holiday to be established, right? So so Hanukkah sort of like it completes the Jewish year, the Jewish calendar, even though it technically is earlier than Purim, just in terms of when it really entered the calendar, right? This is the final piece, according to some, right? According to some more funky readings.
Yeah.
How is your Hanukkah since we last spoke?
Hanukkah was nice. I was 2 times with my family
Hmm,
and with my grandmother. We've all been tested before, so
nice.
all Corona restrictions were set. Yeah, as everyone's Hanukkah, it was different.
Different.
But still, as we talked, as I talked with Jeremy and Rebecca on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's a different one, but still, we should do the best out of it and always stay positive and
Absolutely,
come over that. So
absolutely. But that's also what I thought was interesting about this Hanukkah is that in every year, like in normal years too, Hanukkah is a very home centered holiday.
mhm,
So in some ways, this was very similar to previous Hanukkahs, but just the
mhm.
fact that it's only right, you can only do it at home,
Yeah, true.
definitely changes the feeling.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's right. And is your family all in Vienna? That you were able to see them in
Yeah,
Vienna?
my family is all in Vienna. My family is all in Vienna, and that's why it's interesting what you're saying, because at the end of the day, there's not so much difference, because at least, like, for sure you will always celebrate the holidays with your family, and also in times like these where there are restrictions and lockdowns and things like that, you're still able to see your family or your closer family.
Sure.
At the end of the day, that's what counts, to celebrate the holidays as long as you can with your family.
Hmm.
So yeah, how was it in Berlin? With whom did you celebrate?
It was really nice, I thought. So with Base Berlin, we had a different partner every night. Um,
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
so it actually it felt very warm that to have all these different connections around Berlin, around Europe, even some international partners. So it felt really nice to bring all these different groups together, and to connect with them and to share the light and the candles. Um, we did the TED Talks on Sunday, which was a real success.
Mm.
Some really, really wonderful people spoke, and that video is still available on our Facebook page. And um, so that was, I thought, one of the highlights for me. I personally went Instagram live to make latkes.
Yeah, I saw it. It was very funny.
So I had a better time than my latkes turned out. So,
but that's the most important or most funny thing when cooking, I think.
yeah, I have a
Go
new
for it.
respect for people who do those cooking videos all the time, because I had a very tough time having a conversation and cooking at the same time.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Also in Hanukkah, I noticed this year especially that I have the double amount of laundry because your apartment smells so much like the oil
Uh-huh.
cooking the latkes. It's so intensive. But
Wow.
yeah, I think I've also gained some kilos in this week.
Absolutely. My dad calls it the COVID-19. 19 kilos. But I was thinking a little bit about Hanukkah, and I was reading some essays and some articles about Hanukkah, and I discovered an old article that I remember really enjoying, and it's by a rabbi named Rav Shagar, and Rav Shagar. It's not his real name; those are his initials, Shin Gimel Resh. As the story goes, you know, when he was a kid, they found it on his talis bag, and they said, okay, his name is Shimon Gershon Rosenberg, and so they said, oh, Shin Gimel Resh, we'll call you Shagar. So Rav Shagar, he's a 20th century Israeli rabbi, philosopher, thinker, even though he wouldn't call himself a philosopher, but some people do. He died about 15 years ago, and he had a lot to say. He was a Rosh Yeshiva. He wrote books, all in Hebrew, and now it's starting to be translated into English and a few other languages. So people are really starting to encounter some of his ideas for the first time, which is very, very cool. And so he has one essay on Hanukkah, where he talks about Rabbi Nachman, of course, one of his inspirations, and he says that what is the lesson of the Chanukiah, right? What can we learn from the Chanukiah? And he looks at the idea that we're supposed to place the Chanukiah right at the outside of our homes. Right now we do it in the window, but definitely in the time of the Talmud and very early on, the idea was you place the Chanukiah right at the entrance of your door. So the question is, right, is the light of the Chanukiah intended to illuminate the whole outside, right? So you put it at the entrance, that you bring the light from the inside all the way out and illuminate the darkness that way? Or maybe, right, is the light from the outside, right outside the home, meant to actually draw from the outside and light up the home, you know, in return? And for him, that is the question between sort of internal Jewish wisdom, right? Things that are, you know, things that we know, things that are familiar from the Torah, from our sources. That's sort of the inside. And the outside is anything else, right? Not just sort of philosophy and thought and thinking or whatever, but anything that is out there in the world. Poetry, music, different religions, different cultures, anything that sort of we encounter as we walk through the world. And what Rav Shagar is noticing, and what he's sensitive to, is that some people aren't finding inspiration from the inside, from the internal Torah sources, right? They're reading the texts and they're studying them, and it's just not quite doing it for them. So they go look outside. They go look, you know, they read poetry, they read literature, listen to music, they encounter other cultures and religions, and that's where it's more inspirational for them. So what's the lesson of the Chanukiah then, right? What does Hanukkah teach us? Is that there are some people, right, or that it's our job, right? Everyone has this power to take what's going on the outside and use it to light up the inside, right? It's not enough to say, oh, I'm gonna take my Torah ideas and just send them out into the world and write them in a language that makes sense to everyone. That's certainly one part of it, right? To say like, look, here's this great idea that I found right in the Parsha this week, and here everyone should know about it because maybe it has some universal value. But maybe, right? It's the job of us as leaders and thinkers and sort of the new generation to say, wait a second, how does this piece of poetry, how does this piece of music actually play a role in my Beit Midrash, right? In my Dvar Torah? How do I bring it together? How do I put it in conversation with what's going on sort of on the inside? And how do I bring it in and translate, right? It's all about translation and elevating it and making what could be, right, a very sort of mundane language. And this Rav Shagar, he says like the 70 languages of the world, right? Right. That's what those have no inherent holiness. But what our job is to take those languages and translate them into Lashon Kodesh, right? Into Lashon HaKodesh, into, you know, Hebrew, but Hebrew as like a spiritual or religious vocabulary. And by doing so, really bring holiness not just inside out, but actually outside in. And that he says is like the completion of the religious language. And what I love about this essay is he doesn't say this in this particular essay, but I think it actually connects exactly to the parsha this week. Is that this week we read about Joseph, right? And we always read about Joseph during Hanukkah. And I think that Joseph is actually a great example of someone that does that, of someone that's fully immersed in the outside, right? Joseph is Egyptian, right? At this point in the story, he's got an Egyptian name, he wears Egyptian clothing. And what he does is he takes care of the Israelites, of his brothers that come down from Canaan and gives them food, and he gives everyone food, right? So I think Joseph is an amazing example of this translator. And there's a great midrash about how Joseph actually speaks all the languages of the world, including Hebrew. And that's the one language that Pharaoh doesn't speak. Pharaoh can't, even though he knows all of the wisdom of the world, he can't translate it into Lashon Kodesh. That belongs to Yosef the Tzaddik. And it's his responsibility and his ability to translate that. And I think that's for us too. So, you know, as people that live in the world and live on this boundary between Torah and, you know, everything else that exists in the world, in every language, in every country, in every culture, that is the bracha of Hanukkah, and of the bracha of putting the Chanukiah out the window, that we can draw light from the outside. And bring it back into our homes as well.
Nice.
So
very thoughtful.
Thank you. I'm very sad to see Hanukkah go. I really liked it. I wish it would come again.
Yeah, right. No. Oh, it's always sad when Hanukkah is over, because Hanukkah, I mean, young people, like, we always connected to when we were young, when we got presents and all these things. That's nice. But the older I become, I get more sad, because it's just such a nice and holy time, as every holiday when you are with your family together, but still.
Yeah. Did you get any presents this year?
I have to remember. Yeah, I got some things, you know, from my parents, from my apartment.
Uh-huh.
It's also a thing how you notice that you get that you become older, that you're about things you get for your apartment.
Right now you have like a new plate, or like or it's like, here's a really sharp knife, and it's like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted. My grandma said to me once, she said, when you're young, you want the presents to be as big as possible. And then when you get older, you want them to get smaller and smaller until it's just a check.
Yeah, true. Wow, yeah. Nice. I like it.
So I think you and I are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you get for Hanukkah?
I got a new book, which I'm excited about, and I got the school that I work at gave us all little snacks,
Nice.
um, and I
A
got
book is a good present for in these times for lockdowns and
That's it, right? Or maybe a new pair of socks or someone's HBO subscription. All right, shall we? Shall we separate?
Shall we? We shall, yes.
Hine el Yeshuvati Eftach v'lo evchad Ki ozi v'zivrat yad Adonai V'yivi lishua Ushavtem ayim besaso Mimayne Yeshua Adonai Yeshua Lamcha Bichatecha Sela Adonai Tzevaoti Miskavla Yaakov Sela Adonai Tzevaot Asher Avotei Alma Adonai Oshiyam Yamin B'yom Koreinu
Yehudi
Laita Ora Vesimcha Kos Yeshuot Esav L'Shem Adonai Ekav Yai nai 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri agafen Borei peri agafen Yai nai na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei minei v'samim Borei minei v'samim na 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 na
Nai nai na 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 nai na 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 na
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei meorei ha'esh Borei meorei Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
מלך העולם.
המבדיל בין קודש לחול, בין אור לחושך, בין ישראל
עמי בין יום השביעי
וששת ימי מעשה.
ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול.
Gute Woche.
Gute Woche, Shavua Tov to everyone. Thanks for joining, whoever was with us. We felt it. And yeah, everyone stay safe, especially you, Avi.
So same to you, and we should have Hanukkah again soon. It was
If there's one thing that's for sure, it's the holidays will always stay the same, huh?
That's right. The light and the warmth. It lasts us through the winter. We hope.
Exactly. Okay. Shavua Tov to everyone, and see you all next week. And have a nice week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.